Why'd you leave? I didn't do anything.
She's kept away from me for 11 years. Why do I need to be in his life?
The report clearly shows that...
Everybody asks me, where's my daddy at school? And I cry.
I'm not paying for a child, it's not mine.
The tests that we have prove
You need to pay for your son. That is your responsibility.
Brittany.
I am 100% positive he's the father.
Yes, he says I'm not his kid. Why don't you just come down here and prove it and take the paternity test?
Let's get started. Many of you were touched by 11-year-old Trevor. He and his mother, Roberta, came on the show to find out why Leroy not only denied Trevor, but he refused to pay any child support. You're going to see that Trevor and his mother claimed that all they ever received from him was some spare change. So watch this.
Trevor, tell him about the last support check.
It's 25 cents.
Whoa. Okay, I don't know who's getting the money then, because in 1994 or 95, they got 10 grand from me, girl.
You know what? You better dream on, buddy.
Whatever you
because we ain't getting nothing from you. You hurt my son one more time. You make my son cry, and I'll tell you what. You are the lowest man I have ever met. In fact, you are my man.
Will you be in Trevor's life?
No.
Why?
Well, because she's kept away from me for 11 years. Why do I need to be in his life?
No. You see,
Trevor, say what you feel. Tell him what you feel.
yeah, Trevor.
Tell him the truth. Tell him you don't want him in your You tell him. You tell him what you tell me all the time. Tell him.
You're just a jerk. All you want is an idiot, man.
You don't need him anyway, do you, baby?
No. Why do I need him? I mean, he hasn't been in my life ever. I mean, look at him.
That's right.
Good boy.
Trevor is such a sweetie pie, very upset at that point, and yet he wanted, we asked him, I mean, you might see that and say, well, why would you put a child through this? Well, because he wanted to remain on the stage to confront Leroy. I think his greatest wish was he wanted Leroy to admit to being his dad and to sign over his rights and let him be adopted by the only father that Trevor has ever known. This is a man by the name of Bob. Bob is currently married to Trevor's mother, Roberta. Leroy finally agreed if the results came back positive, he would sign the adoption papers. So watch this.
Okay.
If Trevor is your son,
I will sign those papers in a heartbeat.
You will allow him to be adopted.
You bet. You bet. I have no problem with that.
and that's what I think Trevor wanted. Joining us once again, this is Leroy, Roberta, Trevor, and this time they are joined by Roberta's current husband, Bob. Bob, I am told by my producers that you brought something with you to the show. Tell us what you have.
I have the adoption papers.
How long have you been taking care of Trevor?
I was in the delivery room when he was born,
So all of his life?
his whole life.
Okay. Hi, Trevor.
Hi.
I love you. Tell me, is he a good dad?
Yeah.
He is? Boy, not a lot of 11-year-olds say their dad's a good dad, so that's pretty good. I'm very glad. This is the man you want to be your dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Leroy, on the last show, you said you'd sign over those your rights to Trevor and the adoption papers if the results are positive,
Sure
right?
would.
Are you still
Yep.
willing to do that?
Yep.
Okay. So I know we're all wondering what the results are. Is that right?
Yep.
To the paternity test. So let us welcome Alan Gelb to the show. He's our DNA. was going to say to Alan, I've never seen you with your clothes on, but I mean the suit, not the medical things. Can you tell us whether or not Leroy is Trevor's biological dad? They use the word biological, which is pretty important, right? Mm-hmm.
The report clearly shows that Leroy is not Trevor's father. This report does not lie.
I still don't believe it, but that's all right.
The accuracy is, I understand you're not believing it. I understand you're not believing it. Is it possible that Bob or someone else could be his biological dad?
To be perfectly honest, no. That's why I'm so surprised. I mean, unless I have just totally lost my mind or was so drunk I don't know what happened, I'm really surprised.
Very unusual. Is there something you want to say to Roberta? You want to say anything to him?
No, you've accomplished what you wanted. You made me look like a whore.
No.
And that's fine.
Bert.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
All I want from you, Lee, is will you still sign the papers so Trevor can be
How the hell can I sign the papers?
Can't.
It's not my kid. I can't sign him away,
we're
Bert.
married.
It doesn't matter. It's
He
not
cannot
mine right
sign.
there. No, I cannot sign papers.
Let me explain. According to everything right now, this child is this man's son.
Okay.
Okay? You are married, and that's it. He has always been his father. He will always be his father. You don't need any papers.
So how do I have his name changed?
What?
How do I have his name changed?
How do you have his name changed? Legally, they have to do that. This is good news. This is your father. Okay? This is not your father. That's your father. That's pretty good. You know, an important thing is maybe to define what a father is. A father is the guy that was there when you were born, is there when you're not feeling well, is there when you want to play ball. That's called being a father, all right? The other is just all those grown-ups nonsense. So you got a dad. We'll be right back. Thank you.
I just want to know why he hasn't bothered with me, that's all.
Okay, you
It's
asked
not
him.
fair.
What about your ex-husband? You was living with him.
You're full of duty.
I must tell you, that last segment really surprised me. Now, many of you called and wrote wanting to know whatever happened to 9-year-old Brittany after her dad, Mark, denied her. So let's first take a look at why her dad, Mark, didn't initially believe he was her biological father. Roll the tape, Debbie. You told our producers in your gut you do not believe that this is your daughter. Can you give us reasons why?
Well, first of all, after everything was found out that she was pregnant, and I was very happy. I had no problems with that at all. I don't know what my parents' situation was at the time, but basically, I wanted to go forth with it and, you know, do the best thing I could, you know, possibly marriage there, you know, sometime down the road. The only thing that happened with my situation in my mind is right before we broke up, I then found out that she was seeing another man for about 2 weeks.
Brittany,
know nothing about to begin
now
with.
that you have met Mark, why don't you tell him what you're feeling?
It's okay. I just want to know why he hasn't bothered with me, that's all.
Okay, you
It's
asked
not
him.
fair.
You feel it isn't fair?
It's okay.
Once again, we asked her if she would like not to be here. She said she wanted to. So we gave Mark a paternity test with Alan Gelb, and the results proved he was indeed Brittany's biological father. Now, what happened was he promised to be a part of her life and then failed to show up at our studios when he was supposed to reunite with his daughter. This is his daughter. The day wasn't a total loss for young Brittany because for the very first time that day, she met his parents, that is, her paternal grandmother. And even though Mark didn't want to have anything to do with his daughter, the parents, Brittany's grandparents, wanted to play a role in her life. So we had the cameras there on hand to capture what we think is a very happy moment. Watch this.
There, right there. Yep, in that car.
Hi, honey.
Your grandmother loves you, baby. I'm so happy to meet you for the first time. I'm so glad you could get up here. My work left me off. This was so important to me to see you, baby.
Doesn't she look like him?
She looks like her daddy.
I know.
Oh, bless her heart. Bless her heart. You know your grandmother loves you. I've been waiting all these years to meet you, baby.
What a nice lady. This story in Brittany's life is far from over. So to update us on the most recent developments, welcome back Brittany and her mother, Kelly. Brittany, you've gotten so much bigger than last time, my goodness. I think everyone is wondering if your dad, Mark, is in your life. Does he come around to play a part in your life?
No.
No? Oh. By the way, we tried calling him to find out why he wasn't in your life. And his first excuse was he didn't have your phone number. So he said he only had your address, and he didn't feel like driving over to see you. Does he live very far away?
About an hour.
Yeah.
An hour. Okay, too much for him to drive, I guess. We suggested that he write her a letter. And he said, well, I don't want to do that.
He can't spell.
He said he would think about coming to the program to meet Brittany, but up until now, we can't. He doesn't call us, so we don't want to push him too much. Has Brittany accepted the fact that Mark does not want to be a part of her life?
Yeah, I think she's fine with it. She seems to have taken it very well. I watched her real closely for signs of depression afterwards, and she was good with it.
Good. Good, you're a good, strong girl. On the last show, were you happy to reunite with grandmother?
Yes.
Who is Mark's mother? What's been going on?
Well, I've stayed at her house a few times.
Oh, this is good.
And we went out to eat,
Right.
and she bought me stuff, and
Looking better. Do you want to introduce to me someone?
yes, Sally, this is my grandparents.
Okay. Very nice to meet you. You look like such a lovely, warm lady. This is Irene.
Irene?
And Lloyd?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I think it's wonderful that you have accepted Brittany and you're willing to take.
Well, I did, for sure.
Look at that. I think it's important for her to know that her dad's family wasn't completely shutting her out, you know. Now, before I introduce you, I would like to mention that a lot of viewers wrote in and had concerns for this little 9-year-old girl. There was one letter I received that touched my heart. Will you listen to this?
Dear Miss Raphael, I watch your show on dads who don't accept their children. There was a young girl named Brittany on your show, and her dad denied her. When he did, the young girl cried in her mother's arms. I sat there and I cried myself because it touched my heart. I don't understand how a man with the same blood could do this to his daughter. On a follow-up show, the father told your producers that he was going to get Brittany a birthday card for every year he missed since she was born. I was so sad to hear he never did this. So I went out and I bought her 9 birthday cards and would love to give them to her. I want her to know that some people do care. Thank you.
I have a nice surprise for you. I want you to meet Stephen. Stephen is a viewer whose heart you certainly touch. Stephen, what do you have with you?
He's here, Brittany.
You are so sweet. You are so sweet. Now you come and sit down. You are a very sweet man. You were watching television. What was it that compelled you to write out 9 birthday cards? I think he's too late. Is it 9? Are you 9 now? Oh, he's right on time. Okay.
Just broke my heart to see a young girl have to go through this.
What would you say to Brittany?
Well, I got her a guardian angel.
Okay, we're going to put it on her. Right.
And whenever you're feeling down or anything, just think of me.
He's your guardian angel.
And I'm your guardian angel.
Here you The guardian angel has told us that as long as he lives, and may you live long and prosper, that you will send her a card every birthday as long as you're alive on this earth.
Absolutely.
Okay, we will give you her address. You see, my feeling is that no one in the world is a stranger. Suddenly you've got a child out of nowhere.
That's okay.
Say hello to James. James and his wife, Beverly, and their 6-year-old son, Quentin. This is the first time since Quentin was born that James and Beverly are seeing each other. Is that right? Okay. James, you have doubts that this boy sitting next to you is your son. In fact, you told our producers you're 100% convinced this is not your son. Right? Now, I must tell you, this man in the audience turned to me and says, "That's the boy's father. He looks like him." And somebody else, wasn't it you? So our audience, if you're right, we're all wrong. It's the same face. Why do you think he's not your biological son?
Well, we were separated for 3.5, almost 4 months.
Right.
No. We were separated
for 2 weeks. Who called you and told you that I was pregnant, almost 2 months pregnant?
No. Well, what about your ex-husband? You was living with him.
Oh, you're full of duty.
No. You were saying over
and
to
that's
your
being nice.
No, you might as well cut out the being nice, because I'm not going to be. I mean,
don't give a crap. You are so full of it.
No, that ain't.
We were separated
for
2 weeks when I called you.
No, it was. You tried 3.5
When I called
months.
your mother, should I say?
Yeah, you called my mama. Cause
You are both arguing in front of the
you are.
child. Could we ask you not to do that? Anyhow, you do not believe this is your son, right?
No.
Is this his son?
100%.
100%. You also told us that her actions are hurting your current marriage. You have another marriage?
Yeah.
What's happening?
The thing about it is it's limiting my whole life now. I mean, I have to do without the wife that I love and care for.
Why?
And this is
Why
a
do
whole
you do
problem because
without
the financial part. It's ungodly the amount of money I've spent in attorney fees and.
Okay, what happens if he turns out to be your child? Because we're going to solve that problem in a second.
I'm at the end of the rope. I mean, I can't go any further, lower.
So you're going to take a paternity test.
I'll take the maternity test
If it turns
and find out
that he's your son, no more squawking about payments, right?
Oh, I'm not squawking about payments. I believe that a man, if it's proven that the child is his, to go ahead and pay it. Yeah, I
well,
guess
you
all that
agreed to
back
take a
child support
paternity
was
test. Alan
You haven't paid
Gelb
no back
is
child support.
going to come out and get you, and the results will be available by the end of the program. We'll be right back.
He told me that he wanted to be a part of my life and that he wanted to bond together, and he says, you know, he wanted to have a baby together.
You have slept with how many other women?
Over 100.
ask me, where's my daddy at school?
Yeah.
And I cry.
What are the results of the test? We are updating some of our more memorable paternity stories, and we're also introducing some new paternity stories, which brings us to our next guests. This is Dina. She is the mother of this adorable 6-month-old baby named Jocelyn. Dina is here in hopes that her ex-boyfriend, BJ, will admit he's the father of the baby. BJ is waiting backstage, and he'll be out in a few minutes. But first, how does the story begin? He was going with your girlfriend, is that right? No?
Oh, about 6 or 7 years ago, yes. That's how I
Okay.
originally met him.
Right.
Over time, we started falling in love. I mean, he put me on a pedestal. I mean, he made me feel so important, so loved, so appreciated, so everything. And I just fell in love with him. And he told me that he wanted to be a part of my life and that he wanted to bond together, and he says, you know, he wanted to have a baby together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started making plans for that, and then things that only lasted for a couple of weeks, and things started getting rocky after that. He decided he didn't want to do the father thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
did he know you were pregnant?
No, not this time.
Right.
Neither one of us did. And so
when he found out, what did he think?
When he was shocked. He was very upset, and he said it wasn't his. He said
Okay.
he said that it couldn't have been his baby because he's been married before, and he's slept with other women and has never gotten anybody else pregnant. So therefore, he doesn't
This
think
is
he
a
can get
new
anybody
one.
pregnant.
This is a new one. He slept with other women, they didn't get pregnant, therefore you couldn't get pregnant.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so he kind of threw you out of the house. You were back out, right?
Yep. 2 days after I found out I was pregnant, there was a U-Haul truck, and I had to leave.
Is there any doubt that he's the father?
I am 100% positive he's the father. I mean, the only other way he couldn't be is of his immaculate conception.
Okay.
I mean, there is no doubt in my mind.
I understand there's a specific reason you want to prove that he's the father. What is that?
Because I didn't get a chance to know my father until I was much older, and I felt like there was a part of me that wasn't there. I really wanted to know my father, and I feel like part of your identity is knowing your heritage.
Right.
And I feel my daughter has the right to know her heritage.
Let's hear what BJ says regarding this. BJ, come on out.
What do you say, Dina?
BJ, you told us you are convinced. As convinced as she is, that's how convinced you are that this is not your daughter. Now, your reason is you have slept with how many other women?
Over 100.
How old are you?
27.
You're 27 and you've slept with 100 women. Have you been married?
3 times.
3 times. You are sure this is not your child?
I have my doubts. If it is mine, I got no problem paying the child support and taking care of the child.
She also wants you to be part of the child's life, so we're going to give you a test, and as you know, and find out that whether this is true or not. Before we take the paternity test, I want to remind our viewers about a story we recently featured involving 7-year-old Tara. Her mom, Dina, claimed that her former boyfriend, Wayne, was Tara's father, and he denied the claims. When he came on the show, it was his first meeting with young Tara, and I asked him how he felt when he looked at her, and this is how he responded. What do you think when you see Tara?
Just...
I mean, would you look at her?
Her mother's just lying to her.
I am not lying.
I'm not paying for a child, it's not mine.
In other words, In other words, you purposely try to quit a job?
Well,
He's ran from state to state, from job to job.
You admit that you've done that?
I'm not going to pay for a child that's not mine.
Everybody asks me, where's my daddy at school?
Yeah.
And I cry.
Oh, what do you tell them when they ask you that?
I don't tell them anything.
Do you think you have a daddy?
7-year-old Tara and her mother, Dina, and Dina's ex-boyfriend, Wayne, are joining us today. And as you know, they took a paternity test a few weeks ago, and Alan Gelb has received the results of the DNA test. Alan, where are you? Come on back in. Tara, how you doing? You doing good? Alan, do you know what Tara asked me? Tara, give me a smile. She asked me, she needs false teeth. Yeah, no, she doesn't really need them, but there's been a problem there, hasn't there, Mother? Losing those teeth. Such a wonderful kid. What are the results of the test?
The tests that we have prove that he is not Tara's father.
Can I have BJ and Dina? Will you go and follow Alan now? Okay. Okay. So they're going to find the results of the DNA test. And we will give you the answers by the end of the show. We'll be right back.
Jeremy misses his dad. He hasn't seen him in a year. It makes me feel sad.
You are the father. Get off my stage.
Now, it's not always about paternity. We did a show a few months ago titled Newlyweds on the Verge of Divorce. And on that show, we met Julie and her newlywed husband, Robert. And as you're going to see from this clip, they were going through a very difficult time. Julie, when you called our producers, you appeared to be at the end of your rope. What are the problems?
Well, I guess a major one right now is he doesn't believe he's the father of our child. He thinks that I just married him to use him.
Because you were pregnant, you married him to use him?
That's what he thinks. You never loved me.
I think that whenever...
You used me.
Wait. What happens if the baby is not yours?
Still make it work. I mean, I'm the only one that the baby's known as daddy. And
You're not even there to be her daddy. You were a sperm donor. And I will tell you right now, I wish to God she had another father. I wish it was possible.
Robert was really convinced that Julie's daughter wasn't his. However, he seemed somewhat relieved when Alan Gelb revealed the paternity test results. Now watch this.
This test proves conclusively that this is your child.
Now, all along, he'd been telling you that he wasn't the father. Okay. Many of our viewers wondered what happened after he found out he was the father of the baby, and they wonder if the marriage was saved, since this was called Newlyweds on the Verge of Divorce. This is Julie. What happened after the show?
At first, he did a lot of good talk.
He talked the talk.
Yes. Said he was going to make some changes, and he was going to be there more and be a little more helpful. And
because he knew now it was his child.
Yes.
Right, so what happened?
Well, verbally he changed, but the other changes just weren't good enough. It's not worth it.
Is he jealous? Is he jealous with you?
He says he refuses to give me a divorce.
Refuses to give you a divorce?
He refuses to give me a divorce.
In America, nobody can refuse to give you a divorce. There's no such thing.
He
has
knows
left
because
you
of the
in
financial bind
he's
I'm
left
in.
you in debt right?
I'm in a real tight financial bind. You know, I'm a single mother now. I've been out of work for over a year.
Right.
Since, you know, basically since we got married.
You want to relocate?
I want to get as far away from him so I just don't have to see him.
I
mean, he denied being her father, and that's good enough for me. Fine, just dad for life.
Our producers will try to help you, you know, try to give you some help after the program. We wish you good luck. Many of our viewers wanted also to know what happened to Jeremy when he came on a program making a plea for his dad to allow him to be adopted by the only dad he knew. Remember this.
Jeremy is the son of the other guy that was in question. Jeremy misses his dad. He hasn't seen him in a year. I've tried everything.
Jeremy, do you miss your father? What happens when you ask your father, your ex-boyfriend, to come and see him? What happens?
I can't find him.
How does that make you feel, Jeremy?
Makes me feel sad.
I would like you to look in the camera. I will send your dad this tape, okay?
I'll just say what I want to say.
You say whatever you want to say. Everything, you just say it on your own.
Hi, Dad. This is Jeremy. I love you, and you love me, and I love Dennis, and he loved me.
We're going to do the best we can. I'm going to send it to him, okay? And I'll let you know. That was not the father in the clip. That was the man who had been taking care of him since he was born. Our producers tried to track down Jeremy's biological father, and she's right, we couldn't find him. And then a few days after the program aired, we got a phone call from him. A miracle of miracles, the man was watching the program. And by the way, the bad news, that's the good news. The bad news is he will never allow Jeremy to be adopted. He will fight it in court, willing to fight the adoption, but not willing to visit his son. So he won't be with the child, but he will not allow anybody else to be with the child. We hope the matter can be resolved before not too long. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
I want him to meet my dad. I want him to see me a lot. I want him to love me.
A few months ago, young Christopher came on our program to make a plea to the dad who denied him. At one point, he even placed an ad in the newspaper trying to get his dad to pay attention to him. Listen to his emotional plea to the dad who denied him. He's watching right now. What would you say to him?
I want him to meet my dad. I want him to see me a lot. I want him to love me.
Want some good news? I'm happy to report we have a happy ending to Christopher's story. After listening to his son's emotional pleas, Christopher's dad has decided to play a role in his life. And they've been getting together on a regular basis, and they both enjoy each other's company. Now, meet Gayla and her 13-year-old son, Justin. They say that Christopher's story is quite familiar to them because the man who Gayla says fathered her son, Justin, refuses to admit that Justin is his son. Gayla says when she was 7 months pregnant, this is a wild story, Gayla, with this man's child, he said, "My sister needs a kidney.
Yes.
I have to donate one to her. I'll be back before the baby is born." That was 13 years ago, and Gayla hasn't seen him since. I've heard men go out for a pack of cigarettes, but to go out to give a kidney and not return for 13 years. Now, This has been very hard on your son, and anyone can sympathize with that. A few months ago, you found him. He had moved, and you couldn't track him down for years and years and years, and you finally found him. How do you feel knowing that he doesn't want to have anything to do with you?
Well, it makes me mad because he didn't want to be my dad.
You know, we tried calling him, and he denied knowing your mom and hung up on us and all of that. Gayla, why do you think he denies knowing you? Why do you think he denies fathering his child?
I don't know. He never gave me an explanation why.
Well, the last time we tried this, it worked. So let's give it another shot. Justin, would you like to make a plea to the dad who denies you? I'll make sure that he receives this tape, okay? You just tell him what you're thinking.
I just don't know why he don't want to be my dad.
You're a fine, athletic young man.
Yeah. He's just, if he doesn't want to be my dad, and he says he's not my, yes, he says I'm not his kid, why don't he just come down here and prove it and take the paternity test?
We'll let you know what happened. You're a very sharp young man, you know that?
Thank you.
In another story, many of you remember Lavone and Carlton. Carlton's mother was convinced that Lavone's baby did not belong to her son. Remember this? Elaine, why do you think the baby is not your son's baby?
Well, from what he told me, he have doubts. He told me that things that happened between him and Lavone, which I really don't know to be a fact. But on one occasion, I went down to the hospital to see Lavone after she had called me and told me she was in labor. Lavone, you were in the labor room. I went in there. I met you and your mother in the labor room. They were trying to stop your labor pains.
No, that was not the time.
Lavone,
You was not there.
Excuse me. Yes, I was there, Lavone.
Get the information straight.
I was
no,
there.
Excuse me.
I don't have to. I was there.
You was there when I was in full-blown labor. When you seen me, you came up in the hospital talking about how you bought some dildo from some Spanish lady in the next building. It was not me. Okay, honey? Get it straight. Get it straight, okay? Can you please bring the baby out before the segment is over so you can see for yourself? My child looks exactly like Carlton.
The results proved that Carlton was the father. Unfortunately, both parties have changed their phone numbers. They can't get in touch with each other. We can't get in touch with them. I don't think they realize that it's the young baby who's going to suffer the most by changing your phone number. We'll be right back.
You are the father. Get off my stage.
Joining us now is Dr. Gilda Carl. Gilda, I have been worried all through the show about the children. I mean, there is no way that I could imagine that Leroy was not Trevor's father. I was just so sure as his mother was, because I believe women know who the father of their baby is, and that she doesn't is mind-boggling.
You know, it's mind-boggling to all of us. You know, we have a war going on. We have a war between men and women that is just devastating, because who counts most? The children. The children. And who loses out the most? The children. Here we have,
Trevor is, either one of them, I don't care.
Yeah. What did, somebody in the audience just said it, I'll take them. Oh, bless you. Because we all really are a family together, all of us.
Well, that's right. They shouldn't be fighting in front of the child.
They should
Absolutely
not. That's right. We all agree with that. But, you know, I'm very concerned over what has happened on this show as a result of these paternity tests. I'm very concerned. What did you tell Mom when you were on my lap? Do you remember outside? after you found out that that man was not your dad?
I want my other daddy.
She wants her other daddy. And you know something? You have done your daughter a terrible disservice. Come here. You know, for all the time that women and men are calling each other names, and so often that women are said to be male bashers, I personally, and I'm sure Sally will join with me, in apologizing to every man who has been lied to and cheated to by a woman.
We'll be right back. Well, the results are in, and it's 99.99% proven that BJ is the father of baby Jocelyn. BJ's response is, I'm in total shock. BJ has promised that he will assume full responsibility for his baby. James told Alan Gelb that he was smoking cigarettes beyond his limit awaiting the paternity test results. Well, it's time to quit the habit, because there are no buts about it. James is definitely the father of 6-year-old Quentin. James is now considering moving states to be closer to his son. While it was proven that Wayne wasn't Tara's father, Wayne has agreed to allow Tara to keep his last name for as long as she wants. But after the show, Wayne's oldest daughter recognized him, even though she hasn't seen him in 13 years. So she called him to let him know he was now a grandfather. Wayne was ecstatic and says, "This is one child and one grandbaby I certainly won't run from." They're hoping to reunite soon. Since the show, Bob has taken official steps to adopt Trevor. Trevor says he can't wait until he can tell everyone, I have a dad and I love him. Congratulations to the whole family. As for Julie, she told us she was desperate to get away from her husband. So my producers arranged to help her move across the country. I would like to thank the people at U-Haul Trucking who agreed to move Julie to another state for free so she and her baby could start a new life.